Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Type, type. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اتبع هداه إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، في مقدمة هذه القراءة نسأل الله أن يوفقنا جميعا لما يحبه ويرضاه، وأن يسلمنا ويعافينا ويعصمنا من الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن، وأن يثبتنا على التوحيد والسنة حتى نلقاه ونحن كذلك. We reached in the reading, we're still reading from the book حل العقدة في شرح العمدة. Is by Sheikh Abdul Aziz ibn Abdullah al-Rajihi حفظه الله تعالى. In the last class, we talked about we started with washing the face. A person, and we're talking about the wudu. We're on the chapters about the wudu. We're talking about the wudu. We talked about washing the hands and the rulings pertaining to washing the hands. And then now we're talking about washing the face. So the first question is, what are the perimeters of the face? What are the perimeters of the face? The answer is from where the hair begins at the top of a person's head or forehead to what comes from his chin until the bottom, what comes from his jawbones and his chin, and from the ear to the ear. Tell you what else is included in the face. Is it sufficient for an individual to simply wash his face? You just put water on your face from your hairline to your chin and from your ear to your ear. Is that sufficient? The answer is no. A person has to do what's called al-madmada wal-istinshaq wal-istinaf, and blow it out of his nose, and that's obligatory. طيب. The author says ثم يغسل وجهه ثلاثا. An individual washes his face 3 times. What is obligatory in terms of washing the face? Does a person have to wash his face 3 times? Can a person wash his face less than 3 times? Can a person wash his face more than 3 times? The answer is that it's permissible for a person to wash his face up to 3 times. If a person washes his entire face 1 time, that's sufficient. His wudu will be correct with simply washing the face 1 time. The person's wudu would be correct with washing his face only once. But what's best is that a person washes his face 3 times with the istinshaq and the mother, taking the water in the mouth, al-istinshaq in the nose, blowing it out, al-istinfar. Like a person washes his face or his arms or whatever the limbs may be, whatever the part may be, he washes, let's say, his face, right? A person washes his face. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A person washes his face. He uses 3 things of water and washes his face. One hand, yani 2 hands full of water, washes his face. But after that washing, after he washes his face one time, he realized that he left the whole side of his face on the right side, like under his eye, from his eye to his ear and down to his chin. Is that one time considered, is that one handful of water considered washing the face one time? No. The answer is no. Because the Sheikh, he said that the issue is not about the number of handfuls of water you have. The issue is about completely washing the body part. Completely washing the body part. Right? So if an individual, let's just, for the purpose of simplicity, let's say a person has really small hands and a big old face. A person has small hands and a big giant face. So those 2 hands are not enough water, are not enough hand space to get enough water to put all over the person's face. So his washing his face one time might take 2 handfuls of water. Those 2 handfuls of water in the situation of this person are considered one washing. What's the ruling on this? Why a person washing his hand one time to the elbow? After you wash your face, you wash your hands once to the elbow. What's the ruling on washing the hands in this situation? Okay, the answer is you have to do it. You have to do it because in this situation, washing the hands is obligatory. In the first situation, it depends. Some situations might be obligatory, some it might not. But in this situation, it's obligatory. It doesn't matter what the situation is. When you wash your hands to your elbow, you have to wash your hands, including your hands, all the way up to your fingers, all the way back to your elbow, and including the elbow. Right. Then the Shaykh, Hafidhullah, the author, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, ثم يمسح رأسه مع الأذنين يبدأ بيديه من مقدمه ثم يردهما إلى قفاه ثم يردهما إلى مقدمه. Then a person wipes his head with it, and he also does it with his ears. He begins, barakallahu fikum, with his 2 hands from the beginning of his forehead, the beginning of his head. And he had with his hands almost together, fingers kind of almost unlocked. Takes the water, starts from the front of his head, goes all the way back to the back of his neck, and then brings it back forward. The Sheikh, he says, هذه هي السنة في مسح الرأس. This is the sunnah. This is the way of the Messenger of Allah in doing the head. يمسح بيديه فيبدأ من مقدم رأسه إلى قفاه. A person wipes over his head with his hands, from the beginning of his head to the end of his head, whereas to his neck, the back of his head, his neck. ثم يردهما إلى المكان الذي بدأ منه. We talked about that. لما جاء في حديث عبد الله بن زيد, because of what is in the hadith of Abdullah bin Zayd. ثم مسح رأسه بيديه. Then the Prophet ﷺ wiped his head with his hand. فأقبل بهما وأدبر. right? He went from the front to the back and back to the front. أقبل بهما وأدبر. بدأ بمقدم رأسه حتى ذهب بها إلى قفاها. He says he began with he began with the front of the head until he took his hand with his hands and wiped to the back, and then from the back to the front. يعني ثم ردهما إلى المكان الذي بدأ منه. He says فهذا هو الأفضل. This was better. كيفما مسح أجزاءه وكيفما this was better. وكيفما مسح أجزاءه. The Shaykh, he said, يعني however he wipes over his head is sufficient. إذا عم رأسه بالمسح, as long as the individual wipes over his whole head. والمرأة كذلك, and likewise the women. He says وأما الشعر المسترسل فلا يجوز مسحه. أما الشعر المسترسل فلا يجوز مسحه. طيب. قوله مع الأذنين طيب. طيب. The Sheikh, he says, طيب. He says hair extensions طيب. The Sheikh, he says قوله مع الأذنين, the statement of the author with the hair, with the أذنين, the ears, the two ears, أي يمسح أذنيه مع رأسه. The individual wipes his ears when he wipes his head, with his head. فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم مسح برأسه وأذنيه مسحة واحدة. Because the Messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم wiped his head and his ears with one wipe. طيب. He says قال ثم يغسل رجليه إلى الكعبين. Then the individual washes his feet to his ankles ثلاثا, 3 times. يدخلهما في الغسل يدخلهما في الغسل ويخلل أصابعه بينهما. طيب. So the person washes his feet to his ankles 3 times. Right? طيب. He says the person uses his finger to go between his toes. The Sheikh, he says, أي ثم يغسل رجليه الكعبين. The individual washes his legs to his ankles. ويدخل الكعبين في الغسل. The individual includes the ankles. When you wash your feet, you have to also wash the ankles, right? ويدخلهما في الغسل أي الكعبين. The individual also washes his ankles, his feet, and his ankles, to his ankles, including his ankles. يدخل الكعبين في الغسل بقوله تعالى, because of he washes his ankles when he washes his feet. يعني the individual washes his feet up to his ankles. يعني مع الكعبين. He said this means with the ankles. كما سبق في المرفقين ينبغي أن يعمم رجليه بالغسل حتى يتجاوز الكعب ويشرع في الساق. He said the individual, the ayat means including the ankle. Allah Ta'ala mentions the ghusl, it means he's to the ankle, and your feet to the ankles. He said this verse means including the ankles. And the Sheikh, he says it's suitable for the individual needs to wash his complete feet, wash his feet completely, including until he passes the ankle and begins in the shin. And the individual washes his foot, his ankle, and above the ankle until the individual is almost washing his shin. Right? Yeah, and right above the ankle. طيب, he says والواجب التعميم مرة واحدة بغرفة أو غرفتين أو بغرفتين أو والمرة الثانية والثالثة مستحبان. What's obligatory, the Sheikh, he says it's obligatory to wash the complete foot and the ankle one time, whether it's with one handful of water or two or three or four, right? To wash his it's the Sheikh, he says a person that what's important is that a person washes the entire foot and ankle one time, whether it's with a handful of water, two handfuls of water. The important thing is that the individual washes his complete foot, whether it takes an individual takes one handful of water or it takes two handfuls of water or more, but the point is that the person washes his entire foot. Washing the second time and the third time are recommended. Washing the foot a second time and a third time is recommended. ويخلل الأصابع ليوصل الماء إلى ما بينهما. Excuse me. The individual washes he uses his finger to go between his toes so that he can make sure the water reaches in between his toes. Sorry. Then the author mentions ثم يرفع نظره إلى السماء فيقول أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Right? Hold on 1 second. The Sheikh, he says ثم يرفع نظره إلى السماء. He says رفع البصر إلى السماء بعد الوضوء ضعيف. An individual raising his head toward the sky for an individual to raise his head to the sky after he makes wudu is weak. لضعف الحديث الوارد به, because of the weakness of the hadith that has this mentioned in it. طيب. Then he says, أما قوله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. In terms of his statement, where he said after the wudu you say this dhikr, I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah alone with no partners, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his worshipper and his messenger. He says, فَهَذَا ثَابِتٌ فِي صَحِيح Muslim. This is authentically narrated. This is authentic in the Sahih of Imam Muslim. This is narrated and it's authentic in the Sahih of Al-Imam Muslim. طيب. In the hadith of Uqbah, ibn Amir رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال ما منكم من أحد يتوضأ فيبلغ أو فيسبغ الوضوء ثم يقول أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد عبده ورسوله إلا فتحت له أبواب الجنة الثمانية يدخل من أيها ما شاء. طيب. The hadith is narrated in the Sahih of Imam Muslim from narrated by the companion who is named Uqbah ibn Amir. Uqbah ibn Amir. And he said that the Prophet ﷺ said, if one of you, every one of you that makes wudu, and he perfects his wudu and says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah. Wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger and his worshipper and his messenger. The eight gates of paradise will be open for him, and he will enter into whichever gates he wills. At Tirmidhi mentioned, the author, the explainer, he says Tirmidhi mentioned with a good chain, Allahumma ja'alni min at-tawwabin wa ja'alni min al-mutatahhirin. Oh Allah, please make me one of those that repent and make me one of those who are pure. The Sheikh, he said this hadith is Jayyid, the author. He says this hadith is Jayyid. طيب. وجاء في حديث آخر استحباب أن يقول بعد الوضوء, that is recommended. In another hadith is mentioned that it's recommended for a person to say Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk mithlu kafarat al-majlis, like the kafara of the majlis. وقد تكلم فيه بعض أهل العلم, and some of the scholars have criticized this. The author, he mentions that this is narrated in Nasa'i في الكبرى والحاكم, and also Abdul Razak mentioned it, and Ibn Abi Shaybah. And the Sheikh, he mentions that it was declared weak, and it's mentioned in some of the books of Ilal. He says, فالحاصل أن الوضوء لا يشرع فيها شيء من الأذكار إلا التسمية في أوله والتشهد في آخره. He said, in summary, with the reality, in summary, there's no adhkar for the wudu except to say Bismillah before it and to say the tashahud after it. Before you make wudu, you say Bismillah. After you finish, Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. And that's pretty much it. طيب. طيب أذكار الوضوء 500 500. طيب. The Sheikh, he says, Sheikh Abdul Razak ibn Abdul Muhsin al-Badr, Hafidhullah Ta'ala, in the hadith of Uqbat ibn Amir, he says, I just want to get to the meaning of the dua. So, فضل المحافظة لها يستحب. He doesn't really explain. He doesn't really explain it. طيب. In any event, barakallahu fikum. طيب. So the person says, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. The Sheikh, he says, at the end, يعني الحاصل فالحاصل, right? In summary, there are no adhkar for the wudu except the basmala, to say bismillah in the beginning, and the tashahud in the ending. And after the person finishes wudu, before the person starts wudu, he says bismillah. After he finishes, he says, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. He says, وأما في أثناء الوضوء, he says, as for during the wudu, لم يثبت فيه شيء. There's nothing affirmed. There are no authentic ahadith about saying different adhkar during the wudu. He says, فلم يثبت فيه شيء. وما ذكره بعض الناس من قوله إذا غسل وجهه اللهم بيض وجهي يوم تسود الوجوه. In terms of what some people have mentioned, like about when, for example, when a person washes his face, he is to say, "Oh Allah, lighten my face on a day where faces become dark," right? And a person says, إذا غسل اليمنى, when a person washes his right hand, he says, Allahumma a'tini kitabi biyamini. Oh Allah, please give me my book in my right hand. And like that. And other such statements and supplications. He says, فَلَا يَثْبُتْ وَكُلُّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ جِنْسِ رَفْعِ بَصَرِهِ. He said, there's no proof, and all of that is just like the concept of raising your eyes to the sky. And it's no proof. يعني يحتاج إلى دليل. It needs a proof. In order for these things to be correct to do, you need a proof. طيب. He says, وَالْوَاجِبُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ النِّيَّةُ. But now he's talking about the things in the wudu. So we finished the wudu, right? When you make wudu, you wash your hands to your wrist, and then your mouth. Your hands to your wrist 3 times. Then your mouth and your nose together 3 times if you can. 1 handful of water, mouth in your mouth and your nose, blow out your mouth, blow out your nose. It's 1 time. Do that 3 times. Then you wash your entire face from your hairline to your chin, and what comes out your jawbones from your ear to your ear, all of that surface area, you wash that 3 times. And then your hands, including your fingertips, all the way up to your wrists. All the way up to your elbow. From your hands, from your fingertips to your elbow, wash that 3 times. Then your other side 3 times. Then your head from the hairline. Wipe your head, wet your hands, and then you wipe over your head from your hairline to the back hairline, back to the front, right? And then you do your feet 3 times up to and above your ankles, right? 3 times. One time is obligatory. One time is what is sufficient. Three times is recommended. Now the Sheikh is talking about what is obligatory of a person, those actions of the wudu that are obligatory. The actions of the wudu that are obligatory. So he says, وَالْوَاجِبُ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, what is obligatory of those things, of the wudu, and niyatu, the intention. وَالْغُسْلُ مَرَّةً مَرَّةً, washing everything once, at least once. وَمَا خَلَى الْكَفَّيْنِ, مَا خَلَى الْكَفَّيْنِ, right, except for the hands. وَمَسْحُ الرَّأْسِ كُلِّهِ, and wiping the head, the total head. وَتَرْتِيبُ الْوُضُوء, and the order. وَمَا ذَكَرْنَا, and what we have, عَلَى مَا ذَكَرْنَا, wiping the in the order according to what we have mentioned, as we have mentioned. ويؤخر غسل عضو ولا يؤخر غسل عضو حتى ينشف الذي قبله, and a person does not delay washing one part until to such an extent that the previous body part dries. Like the Sheikh, he says, and explaining قوله الواجب من ذلك النية, what is obligatory is the intentions. Yani of the in the wudu, what's obligatory is the one of the things that are obligatory, or the obligatory things in the wudu include the intention. A القدر الذي يجب على المتوضئ, يعني what is obligatory, يعني the amount that is obligatory on the person making wudu, and يفعله, for him to, يعني that he, what is obligatory for the person making wudu to do of the things that were previously mentioned. حتى يصح وضوءه, right, so that the individual's wudu can be correct. The Sheikh, he says, firstly, intention. A person has to have intention, an intention. فلا يصح وضوءه من غير نية. A person's wudu is not correct without an intention. كما مر في أول الباب, we talked about this previously, right? قوله والغسل مرة ما خلا الكفين, and that the individual washes everything once except the hands. A min furud al-wudu, the Sheikh, he says, meaning of the obligatory things of the wudu, غسل كل عدو مرة, is that the person washes every part once. فغسل الوجه فيغسل الوجه مرة وكل يد مرة. So a person washes the face one time, and he washes all of his hands once, and then he washes his right leg. Individual washes his right foot once. ورجله اليسرى مرة, then his left foot once. هذا هو القدر الواجب. This is what is obligatory, يعني up to the ankle. أما ما زاد على ذلك فهو مستحب. Whatever is more than that is mustahab. It's recommended. He says, however, washing the hands في أول الوضوء فهو مستحب. Washing the hands the first time in the beginning of the wudu. Go into a bathroom, you wash your hands, then you wash your mouth and nose. Right? You want to make wudu specifically. You do your right hand 3 times, your left hand 3 times, then you wash your then you do your mouth and your nose and stuff. He said this washing of the hands is recommended. It's not obligatory. إلا المستيقظ, except for the individual who is waking up from sleep at night. ففيه الخلاف المذكور آنفا. And in such a situation, there's some differing of the scholars, and that's what he meant. He mentioned that previously. I'm gonna stop here, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah ta'ala help me and aid me and give me success. and bless the brothers and sisters. Welcome the brothers and sisters in the Atlantic City area, as well as the Alabama area. So may Allah Ta'ala give us firmness and give us success. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.